Well, welcome everybody to our second event here at the Fintech after COVID-19 BizTech event, and this is our roundtable on 5G and Fintech. This is actually a topic that I'm particularly interested in hearing about, and I know a couple of our speakers in the last roundtable were excited to come here and learn as well. So looking forward to it very much. And with us we have Taha Sajid. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's Taha Sajid.
Okay, Taha from Hawaii Technologies.
Yeah.
And hopefully joining us will also be Linus Belunas from Flutterwave. But real quick, Taha, can you just give us 2 or 3 minutes who you are, your background, so the audience can kind of understand where your perspective is coming from?
Sure. So yeah, my name is Taha Sajid. As Jason I tell you, I'm based in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I've been working in Huawei for the past 5 years. I'm basically from a telecommunication background. So it's my 5 year in Huawei that I've been working on. I'm actually privileged to be working with such a big tech company, and my role and responsibilities lies in the core network domain. So we have when it comes to telecom networks, we have different domains from radio, core networks, then we have transport also, then we have the enterprise domain also. So I'm looking after, so I've been actually privileged enough to actually go on through all the evolution period of the mobile technology. Let's say we have seen in the past, we have experienced 2G, 3G, 4G, and now we are working on some good use cases of 5G with respect to non-standalone and standalone solution. So that's one thing. And beside this, I'm also into blockchain and fintech consulting roles. I'm being associated as a trainer with some local Saudi and international firms. So I'm being pretty active in this space, and I'm looking forward to have a good discussion on this.
Absolutely, me too. Myself, I'm Jason Schuster. I'm representing BizTech, and I'll be the host today. I will hopefully be doing the least amount of talking. We'll let the experts do the talking today. And our discussion today again is on 5G and fintech. And just real quickly, maybe two minutes, Taha. What really is 5G?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people, once we heard the term 5G, we usually associate it with something like high speed, high throughput. It's a SIM, or what is it? So that's very important, because to actually go deep dive into 5G and to explore different use cases, we need to first understand the fundamentals. So 5G is a 5th generation of mobile networks. It is a suite of services. It brings a suite of services, and which took 3 services which can, or if we talk about the fundamentals of the 5th generation of mobile networks, it falls into 3 main categories. So the first category is enhanced mobile broadband, which we call as EMBB, which is basically for the B2C subscribers or the handset terminals, in which once we are using the SIM, we can be able to get the data speed up to 2 gigabits per second, up to around 20 gig, and we can go far up to 20 gigabits per second. Okay, so then the second use case category of 5G is eMTC, which is massive machine type communication. Okay, so once we talk about machine type communication, we're talking about smart cities, we're talking about billions of IoT devices. We can be able to connect those devices, and we can able to provide better energy or efficiency of those devices. Imagine, so this is the machine type communication, in which we are talking about B2C cases usually, and then the third use case category lies into ultra reliable and ultra low latency. So imagine if you are having a self-driving car and a robot performing a surgery, by the consultation of some doctor, So imagine that what sort of latency does this use case require. So once we talk about latency, we have seen with 4G, we are having around 100 milliseconds or 200 milliseconds latency, right? But with having 5G, we will be able to have the latency up to 2 milliseconds. So imagine that once you are having this massive low latency or this high throughput, high bandwidth, and support of IoT devices, all the, so it comprises of a suite of all these services. And then it is built on the cloud convergence model. So imagine that if any company wants to scale or wants to store its data center, or have some instance upon cloud, so that data can be retrieved with minimum seconds to the actually base stations. So that's, once we talk about 5G, we are talking about actually the transition, or if you're talking about a car, let's say that we are having a model of 2018. So imagine if we are going to 2025 model. So imagine that it will bring a massive change in the technology landscape with it. You can say have better efficiency, better security, better communication with respect, better speeds, throughput. So it, brings a lot of good things with them. Yeah.
I love it. Excellent explanation, and hopefully that baseline there will help us in our discussion as we go forward. So I'm gonna keep us going into our first official topic, and so the first one is, how is 5G going to affect banking? Right? I mean, banking and fintech are pretty closely aligned, but very specifically, how is 5G going to affect banking?
Yeah, that's a very good one actually. See, banking, as we know that once you're talking about digital transformation in this era, or in this global pandemic, or even before that, banking is one sector which has seen a growth in digital communication with respect to expediting digital transformation drives within the banking sector. And if, we have seen fintech coming up, then we have seen digital banking. So all of this we are doing it as a what to enhance better customer experience. So how we can enhance better customer experience if we can give them more seamless services. Imagine that if you want to go to purchase a car, let's say, and you want to from issuing a loan to checking the credit history to actually release the funds and whole life cycle. If we are giving them in ultra low latency and throughput and high throughput, with high throughput we can enhance the customer experience for our customers. Okay, and now even once we're talking about online banking or branchless banking, we need to have the financial consultation while sitting home. So imagine that if you are having a 3G sim or a 4G sim which is having some sort of not that amount of data speed for good rendering services, we can experience jitter in our communication. So imagine that if you want to, so if one bank wants to deploy a branchless service, he needs to have his customers have some consultation services with his financial advisors. So with this whole experience from remote teller services to actually enhance or better customer experience. And one more point I need to highlight, which 5G is bringing, is the concept of network slicing. Okay, with network slicing, what we can do with 5G is that we can logically create a interface for all the resources specifically for the banking use case, which which as of now it's not possible. Okay, with 4G it's not possible. With 4G we can achieve good data speed. Okay, but when it comes to 5G, it is most or it is basically service oriented. We have jumped from the concept of speed towards the service architecture, in which we are streamlining. Let's say that if you are a digital bank, you need a and you have a specific use case for augmented reality and virtual reality. So you need to have all the resources based on that particular use case. So with 5G you can be able to build a particular architecture or particular design specifically to that use case, in which you can have all those services within your within your domain. So there are numerous use cases. Yeah.
Excellent. Vertical slicing. I love that. I love the example that you used of buying a car. I mean, if you could imagine going through that whole process in just a few seconds, like that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I see Linus connecting. So it looks like he might be having some broadband issues, but if he's able to join, I'd love to have him in the conversation, but we'll keep things going. So that was, that question was kind of more specific at banking, but what about fintech in general? Fintech's kind of broad. It covers banking. Some could say it actually kind of covers insurance a little bit, or cryptocurrency, payments. What's going to be the biggest impact of 5G when it comes to fintech as a whole?
I see when it comes to fintech, you experience that we have been actually fintech or age has been expedited after 2000. But if you look down back in 1994 or 5, when internet revolution comes, we have seen telecommunication companies coming up with some good use cases to help financial inclusions. We have seen M-Pesa, or back in 2010 when I was working with Ufone, I remember that we developed an application called UPesa, okay, in which once you are having the balance on your mobile phone, you can easily transfer the money and you can transfer the balance and the payment and the receiver merchants, So we have seen telecommunication sector can make fintech reach to a different level. Okay, by using, let's say that if you are having you are having hardware POS terminals in which you want have some merchant activities like this. So with this, if you are having the same hardware POS on your mobile phone using an application, okay, you can use the 5G SIM and you can have seamless communication for your POS working, or POS use case. Similarly, if you are having, let's say, a use case in which you want have some or know some history of credit cards, okay, you just have to scan an app or a virtual reality app, okay, with your on your credit cards. You are more focused on when it comes to buying. You can just have that information by just use of your mobile phone. It can give you an augmented reality vision and it can virtualize your experience. So it can power a lot. Yeah. Jason, you are on mute.
I am on mute. Sorry about that. A host failure here. Thank you for that, Taha. Linus, glad you could join us. Sorry you had some trouble connecting. Would love to give you a couple minutes to just let the audience know who you are and kind of your background, so they understand your perspective. And then the topic we're talking about is essentially, how does 5G affect fintech, and conversely, why does fintech need 5G?
Okay, hey guys. First, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Audio is good.
Awesome. So yeah, apologies everyone that it took some time for me to join. One of my PCs just refused to run Zoom, but either way, happy that I'm here. Thank you for having me. So a quick intro about myself. So my name is Linas. I am a country manager for Europe and general manager for Flutterwave Lithuania. Flutterwave is a payments technology company. I would call us African American because the roots originated from Lagos, Nigeria, with our HQ in San Francisco. I'm responsible for the European continent, so to say. Quickly about myself. So I started off in traditional finance, some big banks, also like big payments guys like Western Union. Also did some work for an investment bank, and then I joined the fintech revolution, which in essence was and still is the thing that I'm most passionate about. Getting straight to the topic, so 5G is probably one of the biggest game changers that is going to happen in the world of I don't know, technology, let's say, right? So if we saw very little difference from 3G to 4G, so the upgrade to 5G should be quite substantial. And I don't know what takeaways have been shared before, but from my perspective and what I'm really keen to see is those, let's say, developing or underdeveloped countries or continents which are still struggling with 3G, and those countries usually have lack in financial services, access to financial services in general. So 5G could, in essence, allow them to leapfrog what we have here with 3G, 4G, and maybe other advanced technologies, and completely redefine the game, the world of finance that people are living in. So that would be my quick view and take.
Excellent. I appreciate that. Some similarities to what Taha was saying already, but very, very, very good. Glad to have you here, Linus, or Linus.
Linus is the
Linus.
most
Okay,
accurate one. Yeah.
got it. So moving on to the next thing in 5G, though, and this is kind of a big concern with evolving fintech in general, evolving tech in general, is privacy and security. What are the big potential, the impacts or security risks that come with 5G? Taha, I'd like to hear from you, and then Linus, and we'll keep it going.
Yeah, actually, I want to tell you a funny story. Actually, I was reading somewhere that 5G has caused this global pandemic. So this actually shocked me a lot, that why people are, once we're talking about 5G, they are thinking like it's a cybersecurity risk, and we are not in safety if we can use 5G, or we can face some health problems if we are using 5G. So that's all myths, which is not facts. And so I want to highlight over here that 5G with like 4G was having some vulnerabilities. Okay, and everything, once you're talking about an upgrade or something like this, if you are having 5G, you can have instant updates, right? And we all know that while patching, while updating, you can secure your devices. And itself, once you're talking about a Huawei 5G, let's say, so this has been a concern, but okay, we have seen by numerous actually independent authorities, like they are telling that 5G, because 5G is having a cloud convergent model. Once we are deploying 5G, we are using containers, we are using application building on top of that, and this application and all the 5G devices, the coding of that is more secure than 4G. Okay, it has more strong encryption algorithms once you're talking about data authentication or your SIM authentication, let's say. It has better encryption mechanisms, so it has bring security to a different level, so, and it is more secure, it is more robust. And even you're talking about your handsets, it can, while using 5G, you can have less battery consumption, so that's all which can make much secure, and it's a good one, but yeah, and so once people will be adapting 5G, they can more experience about what it can bring to the security.
Okay, I like that. I didn't think about it like that. I like that. Linus, how about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So one thing to note, which I haven't also, I'm not coming from a technical background, and quite a lot of stuff when it comes to some deeper tech I don't know, but my perspectives could and are mostly shared in terms of maybe consumer experience, business development, and stuff like that. So in addition to what has been already told by Taha, what I would say in general is that with every new technology, there are not only coming new possibilities, and it doesn't really matter whether it's more user friendly, more safe, more robust. We as humans or as users or as companies, we also advance. So of course there might be vulnerabilities. Of course there might be more, let's say, security concerns, at least in the beginning. But overall, I see this as a positive development in terms of user experience, in terms of potential adoption, and in terms of being able to scale not only the tech, but underlying product and services in a very, very advanced way compared to what we have right now. So either or irrespective of the challenges and vulnerabilities that inevitably will be there, I see this as a positive thing. But of course, we have to make sure, and this is probably for the companies that will be building on top of tech and maybe creating the tech, as well as regulatory bodies, that everything is in line and complying with the rules, standards, and regulations.
Excellent. Appreciate that. Let's move in. We've got I know that the agenda I sent out to you guys had 4 topics. We're kind of moving into that last one. I think we're going to have enough time for one more that I'd like to bring up. And at the end, I think we're going to have a few minutes where we can do some Q&A from the audience, if you guys are good with that. So audience, start thinking of a few questions that you might want to ask, and feel free to drop them here in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to a few of those at the end. So very, very pointedly, very specifically, What is your company doing to prepare for 5G?
So I'll start.
Yep, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Huawei actually is being lucky enough to actually win the trust of their customers by serving over 3 billion customers all over the world. And recently, and as per the latest stats, Huawei has got around 91 contracts of 5G. And leading the 5G developments around the world. So Huawei is providing a different services, end-to-end services which no other competitor is providing with respect to building radio antennas which is providing more spectrum efficiency and easy to deploy services, and using the AI with cloud and 5G in all the life cycle of 5G devices. It is providing RoboFuse, which is a branchless bank itself. So you just have to actually get a box and you can deploy in your data center, and you can have all the services of banking in your disposal. So that's one thing. And then we are having Wi-Fi 6. We are providing unprecedented services globally. And due to this reason, and Huawei, okay, I must tell you over here that is being aligned with the UN vision of digital sovereignty. Huawei has contributed over 30 billion in the European Union economy, the GDP. So it is winning the trust of the customers. And as the customers or as operators are using Huawei 5G services, they want to explore more of it. So once we can able to see the adoption by 2021, then you will be able to see a good use cases of 5G.
Excellent. Linus, how about you?
Yeah. So this is not the best question for me to ask, but in general, we are, as of now, as a Flutterwave, we have, I would say, more important stuff to focus on. But either way, we as a company, we are very focused on innovation and providing the best services possible to our customers. So each and every addition of improvement to the existing technology is what we are looking for. And since a lot of our capacity or a lot of our know-how is coming from Africa, where maybe 3G is still running, we are very keen to have this, let's say, maybe African-wise and then globally, which will allow us to serve our customers better and more efficiently. And irrespective of that, we are trying to look at other ways as to how we could make our customers' experience more seamless. So getting straight to the point, we are as a company, we are not focusing on 5G per se. We are trying to leverage the existing technologies, the newest technologies possible, to win the trust, increase the trust of our customers. So 5G is a future component which will definitely have a significant impact to our customers and to our partners.
Okay, no, I mean that makes sense. I can understand that. Well, then I'd like to follow it up with a different kind of question, and that is 5G. Obviously, it's going to come down to access, and it's going to come down to availability, right? But globally, where as 5G rolls out, where it either geographically or maybe it's subsections of fintech, where are the biggest opportunities for entrepreneurs that are going to be created by this wave of 5G, in your opinion? And again, this is it's all theory, right? But and then again, limited by availability. But entrepreneurs are always trying to find where are those biggest opportunities. And a lot of entrepreneurs today are focusing a lot more on impact than necessarily just cash flow or profits, right? So where are those opportunities as 5G rolls out?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, what I see is that as the operators are now adapting more 5G, so they are actually now what we are having is a challenge of adoption. Okay, they're having some sort of people cannot afford its infrastructure, let's say, or they cannot find any use cases with respect to IoT, because if you're talking about 5G, we need to have handset supported 5G or the device which can support the 5G things. So it needs a complete infrastructure. However, when it comes to what I see, as personally, once we are building towards, or once we will go towards smart city projects, or if we can use augmented reality or virtual reality concepts and building some applications on top of it, then we can experience more use of 5G, and entrepreneurs can take advantage out of that. And one more point over here is that if we talking about, or once we're talking about 5G adoption, we need to first actually understand the business value, that what it can bring to the consumer. Okay, there is no point adapting or using 5G if your user cannot use it, or if you cannot bring out the value out of it. So once you need to understand the technology, what are the different components which are for my market, okay, and then you can start building actually products on top of it. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And I love your mention of AR VR. Aside from BizTech, most of my involvement is with a gaming company called Bad Panda Games, and that's AR VR. That's all that people talk about. it is the next big thing, and it's. I think your mention of how 5G could affect that. I like that. That's a strong opportunity. Linus, how about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I would say that by far the biggest impact that this could make is in the completely untapped industries or regions where there's no infrastructure already. So coming with 5G, you could completely build or provide that financial inclusiveness, let's say, that whole financial infrastructure, and build it completely from scratch. And cost-wise, it shouldn't be that much expensive as opposed to what you would be doing now, or let's say 5 years ago. So this is one thing. So building new infrastructures for the most vulnerable regions and parts of the world. Another thing is speed and availability. So we up to this date, we pretty have quite seamless and quite fast payments, remittances. But with this addition, this could be even faster, even more seamless, and especially in those areas where there's still a lot of legacy infrastructure and a lot of latency. Let's call it like that. So it could be investment, especially with the settlements. Then we could call about Internet of Things, where you could connect a lot of devices and monetize that, your activity. You pay for electricity in real time and stuff like that. So there are a lot of opportunities where you could build fintech applications on top. Personally, for me, what I'm really keen to see more is sustainable finance and sustainable investing. And the current crisis that we have right now is maybe a drop in the ocean compared to what we might and probably eventually will see. Let's call it global warming or global changes of the continent as such.
Absolutely, I like that. And Taha, I'll let you. I'm going to come back. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there is one opportunity that comes into my mind. Once we are having, or customers are more focused into Netflix or to streaming things, rather than downloading a whole application on its mobile phone. So with 5G, what I can also see is that we can do streaming, or the banking players can have some good applications, or can educate their employees with respect to training using the VR things, and have all the applications. Instead of letting the users download the application, they can put the videos on their website and the user can just stream it. So in this way, the users can be able to save the memory space and also the less battery consumption.
I like that. Saving space is always a hot topic in just the whole IT industry, not just fintech, right? I also, in the last panel, we had several discussions about fintech moving more towards peer-to-peer, and I think 5G will make that a lot more seamless as well. There's a lot of issues with peer-to-peer, as far as regulation and that kind of thing, but it seems to me that the speed and efficiency that 5G brings could improve that process as well. So real quick, closing thoughts from either one of you on 5G and fintech, not necessarily any one thing, just something, last thoughts that you'd like to leave with the audience, and then I'll see if we have any questions. Taha, you want to get us started, and then we'll end with Linus.
Okay, so for the 5G, last closing thoughts, I'm telling you again, fintech or 5G is here to stay. Okay, and actually, Jack, Jack Ma introduced the one term called TechFin, 2-3 years ago, in which he said that TechFin companies can disrupt the banking sector, or the tech companies can disrupt the banking sector. So I can see over here is that once the 5G will come, you will see more telecommunication operators into the fintech services. Okay, and you can find some good products and solutions protecting from the vendor side as well, with respect to credit cards, with respect to other products as well. So 5G is here to stay. So better you can start, so any operators listening over here is that if you want to start, you want to have a complete roadmap for 5G, and see, how you can set metrics for your 5G consumer with respect to the payments, how you can set bundles for 5G, and how you can make sure, because even if you are introducing 5G to your consumers, they are not going to leverage unless they are having some sort of applications on top of it. So once you are throwing 5G into the market, you should have applications which are supporting 5G, and you should have a complete roadmap for its adoption. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Taha. Linus,
Yep.
wrap us up here.
So so first thing, let us forget those myths about 5G Corona and any other nonsense that is
Right.
out there, and let's focus on the benefits and on the value add that this new tech will bring, and it's already bringing in. It's very good that we are having discussions where where some real stuff is being shared as opposed to some hype and mythical nonsense, let's say. So as Taha correctly called, so 5G is here to stay. What we should all be doing, either entrepreneurs, thinkers, innovators, or already companies working in this space, is how we could leverage that and how we could better serve our customers, and not only add value to the shareholders, to the community, but maybe try to make at least small impact to the world and to humanity as such, because the possibilities are every year, possibilities are increasing. The thing that maybe we are lacking is how to build on that, how to capitalize on that, and how to bring some value to the world. So my thoughts would be like that.
Excellent. Excellent. Great thoughts from both of our speakers. I appreciate that. We do have one question from the audience. We actually have two. We have two questions, and I'm gonna say let's end at 15 minutes to the hour. But we'll take a couple questions here for the audience. So the first one's from Lords, and he says, "Is it possible to apply the Internet of Things to the people through 5G?" What are your thoughts?
Yes, actually, Internet of Things are for the people. If you see smart devices or smart appliances, smart home, these are all for the people. So what value addition 5G can bring to the IoT is to have all those millions of devices having seamless communication, and to actually take or actually retrieve the data from the cloud, having low latency. So 5G, I'd say IoT has a good use case for 5G, and it can bring a lot of good to the people.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I can probably add, so this should be the primarily focus of how this could add value to the people. One thing that it's not my subject to discuss, but I did some research. So 5G should bring or change game quite a bit for the autonomous driving and autonomous cars, which are coming. We are calling that for quite a few years, but this should improve that, and hopefully would add value to humanity, because we are having maybe too many accidents in this world. So yeah, definitely it's for the people.
Excellent, excellent, great answers. We've got another one here from Britt. What reactions do you see from regulators to the fintech and 5G revolution? And her question is specific to Europe, but I think we will probably see some similar reactions all over the place. But
yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So if I could quickly start, and my answer would be very quick, maybe vague to some extent, but probably as always, regulators are too late. They're lagging behind. There's a lot of bureaucracy, and it's reasonable. This is their job. But when it comes to Europe, one good thing that I'm seeing, and it's probably a shift, is that more and more regulators, and I can only comment on Europe because I'm coming from here, is that they are trying to get feedback, and they're trying to get the sentiment from the players. This is very good. So they are trying to understand the needs, what is missing, and how could they improve. And actually, I was moderating one panel relating to that last week. So they're still lagging behind, to answer the question, but they're trying to be more and more adaptive. So that would be my quick answer to that.
Excellent, fantastic answer. Taha, how about you? Your thoughts?
Yeah, actually,
with Hawaii, you're probably dealing with regulators a lot,
actually,
right?
I'll tell you something. See, for this, any technology like 4G, 3G, or 5G, it is coming from the ITU, which is International Telecommunication Union, and then driven to 3GPP for the standards, and then rolling out to vendors and to the operators, So once they are developing the releases, all the points which are being or all the requirements that are being setting up is as per the regulators or as per the compliance. So that's one. Okay, and the second point is that if you're talking about regulators understanding the technology, we are still lacking behind from this, because regulators don't understand the technology well. So once we are seeing the adoption of 5G, then you will be able to understand what is the drawbacks of 5G, how 5G is playing some roles which are not good for the audience, so that's is for later on the stage, so that's okay. For now, what we are doing, or what the operators are being adapting, is as per the ITU or as per the regulatory compliance. But we have to sit and watch that, once we have that option, then we can be able to see that what is the impact. I think you are mute.
I am muted. It's already been a long day. Excellent answers from both of you. Thanks so much. So the last question is from Tiger, but I kind of feel like we answered this in some of our main topics already. And especially, Taha, you added a lot of this at the very, very beginning. But is 5G going to enhance fintech service, or is it more meant for streaming, et cetera? But you want to touch on that maybe just one more time?
Just to explain, actually, see, once you're talking about 5G devices, what it's doing is processing the data. It's transmitting, processing data, or making the use of data. That's what is being doing, more fintech devices, right? So with 5G, if we are providing high bandwidth, high throughput, better battery consumption, better spectrum efficiency for the coverage, so it is going to enhance all the devices which will be going to expose it. So that's one point. So that's if you can see the fundamentals of 5G or the use case categories of 5G, you can be able to figure out that it can have an impact or global impact on most of the things, not only fintech.
Excellent. Hopefully that was kind of what you were looking for there. Linus, so your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can only agree. So one thing is that it should redefine. I hope that it will redefine the financial inclusiveness, financial access, which will be driven by financial literacy, and then speed, seamlessness, and stuff like that. So it will be a game changer for everything, fintech included.
Excellent. Thank you so much from our panelists. Linus, Taha, you've been wonderful today. Thank you so much for your time. Just taking the time to be here and join with us and share your knowledge with our audience. Thank you to our audience for being here and listening. And hopefully everybody here was able to learn a lot from this. I know as far as me, I came into this not really knowing a whole lot about how 5G really would affect fintech, or really not a lot about 5G at all. But I feel like leaving this, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp now. Not enough to be a speaker, but but at least enough to not be an idiot, right? So I really appreciate your time, and would love to have you guys, both of you, back again at a future event. So would love to stay in touch. And again, just thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Absolutely. Everybody, have a good rest of the day. We do have one more roundtable today for this event at in about 15 minutes or so on sustainable fintech. So hope to see you guys there. And until then, take care. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.